Kung Fu Critic.
Why the K in Critic? The K is for kick. And also karate sometimes. Kung Fu Critic here. Today we're going to be covering one of my top 3 favorite Kung Fu films of all time, The Crippled Masters. A phenomenal film with cheesiness, jump cuts, a little bit of decent fu, but overall a very enjoyable and what I consider to be a quintessential Kung Fu experience. Highly recommended for the oddities and fun of the film. To help us rate it today, we're going to be using the ABCs of Fu, and it's going to help us figure out exactly what kind of Fu we're up to. Let's look at the cast list. Li Ho, actor Frankie Shum. Tang, actor Jack Khan. Lin Chang Ku, actor Chen Mu Chuan. He was also the fight choreographer on the film. Mr. Pao, who is the right-hand man of the evil Lin Chang Ku. Black and white, identified by their colors of course, are the henchmen. Jin, the coffin maker, who helps in the beginning and near the end of the film. And of course, your atypical master. Never precisely given a name, but we know he's the master because he trains. And don't forget, at the tail end of the film we have Ho, the government agent, sent to help our heroes. Now that you've seen our cast of characters, let's go into the story. It starts right off with a bang. Li Ho has his really plasticky arm cut off. He's a bit upset, but not too upset. Then we see that Tang is sitting across from him, conveniently behind a big black desk, as not to give anything away, saying that the other arm must be cut off, and he's sorry that he's been lenient. What have we been lenient about here? This man is disfigured. Nothing else is going to get worse, right? Wrong. Mr. Po comes in, letting Tang know that he is being too lenient, and the master has a temper. Let's take care of business. What is this super severe punishment? He gets kicked out of the dojo. That's severe. Either way, apparently this is terrible news. He starts to cry and fuss, he even curses. But we have our friendly Mr. White to give him a few gentle bops and bips and get him into the gentle cradling arms of these other men. He's thrown out of the dojo on his feet. That's all he has left. Now he decides this is the perfect time to moan and cry about the pain. You just had both your arms cut off and you were just fussing and yelling. Now you fall on the ground and now you're going to moan. Either way, Mr. Pao makes an important speech. If he comes back in here, his life is not worth one goddamn. Now we are introduced to our main bad guy, the master, or sometimes referred to as the king, Lin Chang Ku. We notice that he has been labeled a bad guy by his disfigurement on his face. I don't know what's up with this makeup, but apparently somebody thought it was a good, evil idea. You'll also notice the protrusion on his back. Why is this there? Because he has a steel hump on his back. Apparently, kids, this is cool. As we cut to seeing our now armless star walking away, he decides it's a good time to stumble and roll down every single one of these stone stairs. Why did you fall? You were standing. Maybe blood loss? I don't know. Either way, it shows his struggle, and we are now supposed to feel deeply for him. As the story goes on, he eventually goes into this restaurant where he is treated very poorly, teased with comical music about his disfigurement as they tease him with a piece of chicken, trying their best to keep it away from him. How does he retort? He bites the leg of the waiter, a little bit too close to home if you ask me, and draws blood. He is then picked up and launched out of the restaurant unconscious by our friend Jumbo here. He is then found where we see a mysterious and smoky old man speaking directly to the camera about the ins and outs of how life is good.
To work so hard. We have all got to die someday, so what is the point of it all anyway?
Or bad. Huh? I don't know. He's trying to be deep about it, and I don't think it's very deep. Either way, our hero wakes up in his coffin, which he no longer needs, and is eventually met up with Mr. Po and Black and White. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, they're just going to have a little talk and see what goes on. But no, after his arms are cut off and he's banished, they say, oh, we see you again, now you're dead. They try to kill him. One of my favorite moments has to be when Mr. Po says, stop. Black and White, stop. And then they start to beat him up one last time with a good punch.
But still, next time you'll be in trouble. Let's go.
Now let's cut back to our friend Tang. He's laying on the ground, he's moaning and crying. Why? Because our lead bad guy is going to pour acid all over his legs. Let's look at this acid. Is that eating through the cloth? No, it's not. Does he look like he's smiling when he's supposed to be in pain? Yes. Upon meeting with Lee, Lee decides to torture the heck out of him, stepping on him, pushing him down in a cavern that he found so he can have some privacy while he's beating him up. Here's where we find our all-important, always important in every single kung fu film, a master to teach you your skills for revenge. He's in this awkward basket, I don't know why, and he needs help apparently getting unstuck. He says we will fight together, and we go to a beautiful montage of the two of them learning their different skills. Let's watch. You gotta love those cheesy endings. Hilarious, fantastic, goofy, camp. With some rather interesting skills, I might add. We now find out that Li Ho and Tang are to be sent on a mission. Their master wants them to go into their old dojo controlled by the evil master Lin Cheng Ku to retrieve something known as the 8 Jade Horses. Apparently these items are able to teach you specific special moves of Kung Fu, even something that might help them in their training. At first they resist, but then they agree to go. As they try to enter, they discover that Mr. Ho, secretly a good guy, is currently guarding the dojo. How do we know this? Because their master pops his head as high as possible above the roofing and is seen by Mr. Ho. Mr. Ho fakes that he needs more to drink, leaves, giving them opportunity to enter and steal it. Through their combined searching abilities, they then find the 8 Jade Horses, leave. They then decide to return to their old dojo in order to rescue Mr. Ho, realizing he is a good man and that he is being punished by the evil Lin Cheng Ku. At this point, they enter, punish Mr. Po a little bit, but are followed so that their secret site is revealed where they have been training. We then find that the evil Lin Cheng Ku is able to get into their training ground, confronts the master, a fight prepares, and then is dismissed.
Just show me what you'll do. If I break all your bones, then you'll be quiet.
What exactly happened at this point, we don't quite know. Now, after a few this, that, and rigmarole, we finally get to our finale. The finale begins at the evil master's dojo. They fight with some coffins, some other great sound effects are used, fantastic stuff. Then, for some reason, and this is labeled as a mistake in the edits, we jump back to their secret training hideout. It's a flash cut, like we haven't seen enough of those already in this film. It is a load of them. As we get to this final scene, we see some of the best Kung Fu. You see some fantastic attributes by both Li Ho and Tang using their newfound features. This moment is epic. Tang, sitting down, shoots out metal hooks from his back. Where did they come from? Did they make these in a montage we didn't get to see? I don't know. But they shoot out, he jumps onto the back of Lee Ho. Now they are the ultimate Kung Fu masters. Differently abled, but still able to kick butt. Now let's go over some of the elements by looking at our alphabet of Fu. What do we have? Little CF, definitely some crappy Fu in there, not top notch, but could be better. IF, a little bit of impaired Fu, but they overcome. OF, some otherworldly Fu. Some mystical elements going on in there, especially with those springs shooting out of his back. RF, 100% revenge Fu. Hard driven, 2 men, 1 point of revenge. SF, a little bit of silly Fu in there. You got some more comedic elements, some a little bit inappropriate, but well done. And finally, some WF, some weapon Fu. Throwing rocks, throwing sticks, a good mixture, well done. Overall, I would rate this film very high, not as a feature motion picture, but as a kung fu film. It's silly, it's fun, it's funny, but it still has some action there and some very interesting elements with how they overcome their adversity. Top notch, well done. Cinematography, give it a pass. It's a kung fu movie, what else are you going to expect? It's there for the enjoyment, and I enjoy this extremely. I hope you do too. You can find it usually online. Check your bargain bins. That's where I get most of my kung fu. You could buy those big variety packs where it'll have 1,000,000 hours of fu for you. This is the Kung Fu Critic, signing out. Everybody's favorite spot,